Hello, Catamounts. My name is Alexander Hoffman, and this is Chats with Cats presented by WeTV. Welcome back to Season 3 as we enter Spring 2025. In this series, we've been interviewing some of our amazing student athletes at Western Carolina University. Today's guest for the second time is Sadler Miller from the women's golf team and track and field team. How are you, Sadler?
I'm good. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing well. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. Go ahead and please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do on both of your teams.
All right. Hi, guys. My name's Sadler. I'm a current junior here at Western, and I'm on the women's golf and track team, like Alex said. On the women's golf team, there's only 6 of us, so we play golf. And then on the track team, I do high jump.
It's good to know that on the golf team you do play golf.
Yep.
But if you don't mind, could you share a memorable moment from your athletics career here?
Ooh, I would definitely say it was probably last spring. There was a tournament at Mimosa Hills. It was a 2-day tournament. The first day was pretty. The first round, you play 36 holes the first day. First round was pretty tough. Both my parents and my dog and my brother came to watch, which was pretty cool. But I kind of struggled the first round, and then started to play better the second round in the afternoon, and was finally kind of having fun. I've had trouble that season with getting in my head and not performing well, and so it was kind of a rough season for me up until that point. And I always tend to worry about score and constantly am so scared and focused on score, and I'm not able to have fun. And so that tournament, I kind of flipped a switch. And then I had a really great round in the afternoon. And so then the next day, the second day, my dad and my coach were both talking to me, and they're like, how about today, try not to think about score, just go out there and have fun. And so I did, being able to see my dog and my parents, that really helped. And then I had another great round, and I didn't really know what I was shooting. I wasn't actually thinking about score, but I knew I was having a good day. And at the end of the round, my coach came up to me on the last hole, and she was like, do you know what you shot? And I was like, I actually don't. And she was like, really? She was like, that's the most proud of you I've been this whole semester, because that was what I was really struggling with. And she was like, do you know what is going on with Liz? And Liz is one of my teammates. And I was like, no, what's going on? She was like, you guys are currently tied right now for leading the whole tournament. And I was like, no way. And so we get into the tournament, and Liz hadn't finished playing yet. And Liz ended up beating me by 2 shots and won the whole tournament. And I came in second right behind her, and we won the tournament overall as a team. So that, for my parents to be there and to probably see my best collegiate tournament, and me and Liz to finish 1 and 2, that was a pretty cool memory.
Yeah, I do think that the getting in your head is a tough aspect of being not just like a student athlete, but any athlete.
Yeah.
And so getting through that and just focusing on more of having fun is definitely important. Though I will say, it probably, if I was in that position, just knowing that my dog was there, I think would immediately just like help me. But
It was awesome.
yeah. But kind of on that same line, how do you stay motivated for both of your sports, especially being a part of 2 different sports?
Yeah, so it definitely is hard. A lot of the times you don't have a lot of free time, so it can get really, really hard to stay focused and keep a go-at-it attitude. But I try to remember, this is a dream that I wanted ever since I was a little kid, and I didn't know if my track career was going to continue after high school, because I had committed for golf. So now that I was able to get the opportunity to also do track as well as golf, I don't want to give up on that. It's something I worked really hard to get to. So I feel like I kind of owe it to myself to just keep plugging away. I know I'm gonna be grateful for stressing myself out and doing 2 sports later down the road.
Yeah, for sure. I do remember also last time you were on that you mentioned how your coaches help a lot with that as well. With if there is a conflict, they work it out, but golf will come first.
Yeah.
Which does make sense, but I think that all those things together definitely help a lot. But kind of also with that, our student athletes, as you know, talk about the family feel within the teams a lot. So I did kind of want you to talk about how that looks on your team and how it looks for you as a part of 2 different teams.
Yeah, so I really love being able to be a part of 2 teams. Last semester, it was a stressful one because, you've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So 2 teams, you guys are all doing a bunch of activities for all those different holidays. But Thanksgiving is or as Friendsgiving, like we call it, that's probably one of my favorite times, is because I, not only get to have a Thanksgiving with my family, but we have a Friendsgiving for track and for golf. And the track, Friendsgiving, as you know, there's so many people on the track team. It's a huge event. And this year, me and my roommates, we were lucky enough, we were able to host it this year at our apartment. And I've got pictures of the entire first floor of our apartment is just filled with people. There's people sitting down all over the floor. Like, our floor and living room is like covered with people, and our entire island was covered up with food, and we had to bring another table for even more food. And so it was just so cool to see everybody come together. There's always someone that, attempts to make a turkey, and it always turns out pretty well, actually. But it's awesome that I get to do it again with my golf team, and we also have a Friendsgiving. And then, you do the same thing again for Christmas. We have Secret Santa, or most of the time we do White Elephant. And so this year was really funny. We ended up, the track team, we wrapped up one of our old teammates in a box. And so somebody got him for White Elephant. So it's so much fun. Everybody comes together and does these holiday events, and it just makes it really cool. And I'm really grateful that I get to be a part of, two families.
Yeah, there are so many people on the track team.
Yeah,
there's just a lot. Something that stands out to me anytime I think about that. I'm like, there's so many. Like, there's a lot on some teams. Like, football teams typically have a pretty big roster, a couple of other sports here and there, but then there's track, and it's just like a lot. But kind of moving on from the student athlete side to the student side of the interview, because that is what these interviews are about, more than just you as a student athlete, also you as a student and a person. So what are you studying, and what made you choose that major?
So I'm studying interior design and minoring in art. And even in high school, I started taking drafting architecture classes. And ever since I was little, I loved just drawing floor plans and, watching HGTV. That's kind of what got me into it. But I loved how every house is different, and floor plans, being able to create that. And I don't know, I always loved that part of architecture and stuff. And so I am grateful that I love my major, and I'm so happy that I chose it, and I'm really excited to be able to do it outside of school.
Yeah, I do understand that interior design is a major that does take up a good bit of time.
Yeah.
So how would you say you manage your time between academics and athletics?
It definitely is hard. Typically, every one of my classes is 3 hours long, which makes it harder to schedule practices around. So I'm very thankful to my coaches for not killing me and letting me do this major. But it's a lot. What's helped me is creating a checklist and writing down the assignments that I have to do, and making sure that I do them before we have to leave for a golf tournament. Because there's been, several instances you'll learn the hard way if you don't do something before it's due, and then you might not have Wi-Fi in the hotel. That it can be a problem. So I think making a checklist has really helped me make sure I do everything before it's due, well before it's due, because it can get a little intense.
Yeah, I can imagine with something that intense as well, just having that on top of the two sports and having to manage that could be interesting, especially because you hear a lot of student athletes doing sports management or communications and broadcasting or journalism, which makes a lot of sense because sports broadcasting, sports journalism. But then you hear some yours interior design or health sciences, and I'm always like, how do you have the time for that?
It definitely is crazy, because for golf, sometimes when we play 18 holes, we're driving an hour away, and then you're playing 18 holes, which takes 4 to 5 hours, and then you drive an hour back. So we won't get back till 8 or 8:30, and then I've still got homework to do. So there's a lot of sleepless nights. There's some late ones, but I think I always try to remember it's only temporary. I'll get through it eventually. So yeah.
Yeah, that is very true. What are some other challenges you'd say that you face as a student athlete, and how do you overcome them?
For me, I would definitely say mentality and mental health is a big one. I know everybody is starting to talk about it more, but it's easy to get in your head as a student athlete, not feeling like you're ever good enough. And especially it's hard to not let your sports performance, creep into your real life. And it can be really overwhelming, feeling like you're not, you're never where you want to be, and you're kind of never satisfied. And so I've always struggled with comparing myself to others and how good everybody else is doing. But I think I've got to kind of remember that, everybody's journey is different and everybody's going to go through their own sets and challenges, and you got to just take it one step at a time. And yeah, just learn, like for me, it's learning not to worry so much about what everybody else thinks. It's so easy to get caught up in what everybody else thinks, and it's just, that's never gonna be a good thing. So that's definitely one of the biggest parts of me, that I'm trying to still learning how to work on.
Yeah, I do think that the like mental health aspect is something that is getting focused on a lot more often. That's like a big focus of why I like to do this, and also just my master's program as well is is focusing on the student athlete health instead of just as an athlete, because there's a lot of complexity there, and I think that I'm glad that a lot more people are talking about it, because that can be a struggle. And I think Western manages that fairly well as you can, considering how much of a time commitment everything is. But there are a lot of schools that don't.
Yeah.
And
we're lucky that we have a lot of really good resources. My coaches, all of my professors that I've had have always been really cooperative with me. And even though I'm, putting a ton of pressure on myself and I'm freaking out, I'm not going to get a good grade, or, it's easy because being on a team, your GPA affects the team's GPA, the cumulative GPA. So it's easy to get caught up in that. But most of the time I'm worrying way more than everybody else is. Everybody else is reassuring you. We've got, student athletic counselors. We've got people in study hall. Like, we have so many resources here. And I've definitely come close to some breakdowns about things, but they've been able to calm us down and reassure us that it's not the end of the world. It's okay, Yeah,
it's good to have all of that support.
Yeah.
Sure. How has being a student athlete shaped your overall college experience?
I would say it's made it pretty amazing. I'm really grateful and lucky that I'm able to play sports at the Division I level. We get to travel and meet so many people and have so many team bonding experiences that just make college so much fun. You've got built-in friend groups with you, and everybody's just wanting to support each other, and it makes me so grateful that I'm able to do what I get to do, because it's hard out there to be able to do it. So yeah,
for sure. We'll go ahead and move to the lightning round, which is new from the last time you were here.
Yeah.
So basically just some short little questions with some short little answers from you. What has been your favorite class at WCU so far?
Ooh, my favorite class would probably be perspective drawing. It's an architecture class where you learn how to hand draft floor plans and houses, and that's what I really love. And I was thankfully kind of good at it, so that's probably my favorite class.
A lot more than anything I can do. What is your, like, if you have one, a pregame ritual or superstition, or pre-meet, I guess, if it's true?
I kind of have two. My first one is it's helped me come down to earth and slow down a little bit before I start warming up for a tournament. I'll pull up some pictures of my parents and my dog and my little brother, and pictures of me and my dad playing golf and my mom playing golf, and helps me realize the sacrifices they've made, and them supporting me through everything is why I'm able to be here, and not to get in my head and waste, where I'm at in this opportunity, and just be like, they're supporting me. It's, not the end of the world if I don't play good. They're still going to love me. And then I will not to keep it super somber before I go warm up, I always listen to Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. If any Stranger Things fans are out there, I love that song.
Shout out Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I haven't done a shout out to anything yet. And then what is your favorite sport to watch? And with that, your favorite non-WCU team or player?
Ooh, I would say my favorite sport to watch is probably college football with my family. College football season is always my favorite season, and watching it with my family, screaming at the TV, is pretty fun. My brother's always upstairs playing video games and comes down saying that we're being too loud. So that's pretty funny. But I would say my favorite team would probably have to be ECU. That's where both my parents went. My uncle and my great uncle. My dad played golf there. It's where my parents met. So that's probably still my favorite team.
For a second, whenever you said ECU, I kind of thought you were saying ETSU, and I was like,
No.
Conference is insane.
No, what's that?
Okay, fair enough then. And then, what is your favorite post-game meal?
Oh, favorite post-game meal's got to be Italian. I love pasta, so any type of pasta, some bread, maybe never-ending Olive Garden salad. Yeah, any Italian food.
Yeah, I was expecting El Pat because that's what almost every person on the show says at this point. But yeah, different answer. We always love to have different answers, finally. But last question to wrap everything together. What is the best advice you've received as a student athlete? And in turn, what advice would you give to incoming student athletes?
I would say the best advice I've gotten it multiple times from my dad. Comparison is the thief of joy. And that is a really big thing that I struggle with. And he'll send me multiple Instagram reels basically saying the same thing. But that really is because it's never good to compare yourself to anybody else because they're not you. You're unique, you're special, you're on your own journey. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. And yeah, don't worry about what other people are thinking of you, especially incoming freshmen. Don't worry about what other people are thinking of you. They've all been where you're at, and you're gonna all be in situations where you're uncomfortable. But I think how you react and how you handle yourself and put yourself out there and put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, I think, don't be afraid.
Yeah, thank you for that advice for all of our incoming student athletes and viewers, but that is the final question, so we are going to go ahead and close out. Thank you for joining us a second time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll see you next time, and go Cats.